Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Unwoke Thoughts. Got a big show for you today. Lots to talk about. Yes, we got lots going on. So I know this happened over the weekend. So many of you may have already heard about it because I wasn't here yesterday. Yes. But I would be remiss if I did not talk about the SAVE Act. Yes, the SAVE Act. I've been following it for the past couple of months now. It's been like 2-3 months ever since it was introduced. It passed the House. And then just recently, we kind of didn't hear anything about it for a while, right? It passed the House. And then just recently, it made a resurgence when Mike Johnson said that he was going to attach it to the upcoming CR bill, the continuing resolution bill, which is the budget bill that is supposed to fund the government for a few more months. Yes, very important. The Democrats and the Republicans scramble whenever, the funding of government is on the table, right? But yes, Mike Johnson sold us all out and has completely dropped the fight for secure elections. Honestly, I mean, there really never was a fight. It was all a show. I'll explain that here in a second. But for those of you late to the party, the SAVE Act was a bill that would have ensured that it is only U.S. citizens voting in our elections. And the mechanism for this assurance would have relied on requiring certain ID upon vote registration. Now, this has been heavily opposed by Democrats in Congress because they claim it's racist or whatever. But the majority of Americans support it. And instead of Republicans using their leverage, the so-called Republican Speaker of the House has completely dropped the SAVE Act from the upcoming CR bill. His plan, or what he said his plan was to, attach the SAVE Act to the CR bill, to the budget bill. It passes the House, and then the Senate would have been forced to vote on it. What he never once mentions is the fact that, the SAVE Act already passed the House weeks ago. But what's really going on here is Mike Johnson is simply engaging in the most disgusting kind of politics, which is to pretend to take up the mantle on something the majority of average Americans are concerned with. This is something that, like myself, I consider myself an average American. I'm sure most of you probably do as well. And one of the main things on my mind when I see these elections coming up is voter security, vote security, election security, and then also the border. So these two things are like top of my mind as far as agenda. And this SAVE Act would have addressed both of those things, essentially ensuring that we only had citizens voting in our elections. But this is something that the majority of average Americans are concerned with. And they say for weeks how it is so important. Mike Johnson said for weeks how it's so important how we have integrity in our elections. He made a big show of engaging in this so-called fight against the other side who oppose the very important issue of ensuring it is only U.S. citizens voting in our elections. Yes, I don't know if you guys follow Mike Johnson on Twitter or any of the socials, but he was posting about this, these big, rambling monologues, and he would go in front of the press and bang his fist and talk about the importance of only U.S. citizens voting in our elections. Then he gave up completely and blamed the other side for striking it down. But newsflash, it was actually Republicans who struck it down as well. And these were the best Republicans. These were the ones that I trust. But they didn't strike it down because they were against the SAVE Act or against U.S. citizens voting in our elections. They struck it down because they were protesting the fact that they set up the entire thing, this whole show, as if it was straight out of a Hollywood script. The fact of the matter is that the SAVE Act passed the House weeks ago, and it is sitting on Chuck Schumer's desk, but he refuses to bring it for a vote. And Mike Johnson can very easily follow Chuck Schumer's lead and refused to bring the CR bill for a vote until the Senate brings the SAVE Act for a vote as well. It's that simple. Attaching it to the upcoming spending bill was a total show for nothing but to attempt to gain political points, which backfired incredibly on Speaker Johnson. I think there's a large part of the population that doesn't understand this because it takes a little bit of thinking to wrap your head around what actually happened. And that's the whole point. Mike Johnson engages in this fake fight. He talks about how he is very concerned with, the American people and himself are very concerned with citizens, U.S. citizens only voting in the elections. He attaches the SAVE Act to this bill, and he, makes his whole show of going through this process where he is viciously fighting against the evil Democrats to pass this. And then when inevitably it fails or whatever, I mean, even if it went through, it would have been sent back and it would have been the Senate would have stripped the SAVE Act from the bill because the Democrats are the majority in the Senate. He would have just gone and said, oh, look at these evil Democrats. They don't want secure elections. I mean, he knew the whole time. And guys, he has the ability. You guys realize this. Mike Johnson, the Republicans, they have the ability to force the SAVE Act through. It's not like it's that hard. It's not that complicated. Or it might be complicated, but it's no so more complicated than when the military contractors need funding. If the military contractors need funding, if something needs to happen for a war in Ukraine or whatever, Congress, they rush to fix any complication possible. Very, very quickly, all of a sudden, things fall in line when it has something to do with that. So when they say, oh, it's just too complicated, it can't happen for this reason, for X reason, for Y reason, they're lying. They can absolutely fix it. It's not so complicated where they can't fix it. It's just that they don't want to fix it at all. Mike Johnson, to me, is just the most disgusting type of politician. When I think about him, I am more sickened than when I listen to Kamala Harris laugh. I look at Mike Johnson as worse than a Democrat because he is a bold-faced liar. He plays politics. And what is playing politics? Well, it's a fancy word of saying he's manipulating people. What is manipulation? A lying. We say these rhinos or this uniparty. He is a perfect representation of that. He pretends to be on your side, and he makes a big show of fighting for something that you believe in. When in the back of his mind, the whole time, he knows very well what's going to happen, and that he's not going to actually use his leverage and his power as Speaker of the House to do anything of any consequence to fight for you. And he does this to try to gain political points himself, which is just absolutely disgusting. It's just, it enrages me. It angers me. Okay, guys? But we're gonna read that. We're gonna talk about that a little bit here, a little bit more. Yeah, I knew it was happening. I knew it was coming, guys. I was the whole time. I was on my show talking about the SAVE Act this whole time. I knew it was coming. I knew this was gonna happen. But when it actually happens, it's just like, ugh. I was hoping I would be wrong. You always talk about these things like this, the X, Y, and Z is going to happen. And you have this little bit of hope in the back of your mind. Maybe I'm wrong this time, maybe I'm wrong. I think I even said that, but I could be wrong. I think I said, but yeah, that happened. But moving on, Tucker Carlson had a sold out live event in Pennsylvania yesterday where Alex Jones showed up to thunderous applause. Yes, it was glorious. The governor of Pennsylvania, Josh Shapiro, gave the Ukraine president, who is, as you probably know, Vladimir Zelensky. He gave him a tour of a missile plant in Scranton, Pennsylvania, where he signed a missile. Does anyone else get creeped out by these bloodthirsty politicians who are running the country? I do. This just kind of creeps me out. Donald Trump had two events yesterday, one in Indiana talking to farmers and the other one in Pennsylvania, where he visited grocery stores and talked to the everyday folk. It was very interesting to see Trump in a grocery store. Yes. Elon Musk traveled to New York, where he presented the Global Citizen Award to Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni. Governor Gretchen Whitmer posted probably the cringiest appeal to young voters I have ever seen. Yeah, it's pretty bad. Just wait for it. Kamala Harris is outspending Donald Trump by $5 million each day. And how is she still behind? You guys realize how much money and propaganda must be pumped out by the deep state in order to simply keep on pace with, an actual real candidate? Is incredible. $5 million a day. That's wild. Governor Greg Abbott, Texas Governor Greg Abbott, explains why we are seeing a lull in border crossings. The DOJ releases a letter from Trump's would-be assassin that puts a bounty on Trump's head. But what is odd is where they got this letter. Okay. New York City's COVID response architect, Jay Varma, remember we talked about him. He's the one that got exposed by Steven Crowder for having these sex parties in the height of the pandemic when everyone was locked down. He's the one that locked everyone down, and he's out, going to these clubs, having sex parties with like 200 people. Yeah. But he has gotten some really bad news. Yes, we'll look at that. And finally, an AI robotics company called 1X has announced its latest creation. It's a humanoid robot designed to do chores around the house. I could use one of those. But before we get into the show, leave a like on this video and also comment down below. Let me know what you think of the show. And if you enjoyed the show, consider subscribing. And as usual, go to mypillow.com/unwoke. Use promo code unwoke, guys. Why? Why should you use this promo code? Well, because you get up to 80% off. And right now, with my promo code, you can still get the pillow for like $15, but you got to use my promo code unwoke. It's insane. I think I talked about this last time, but they still, I guess they had a big box store cancellation. That's what my rep at MyPillow told me. Big box store cancellation. So they have a ton of pillows that they need to move. So go help them move. Limit 10 pillows. Check that all out. Also, as well, I'm drinking coffee from MyPillow called My Coffee. You might think it's weird to buy coffee from a pillow company, but actually it's fantastic coffee. It's sourced from, I guess, Honduras, right? It's got, it's non-GMO, organic, low acidity. It's like top of the line coffee, guys. This is it right here, My Coffee. You can get a subscription as well. I recommend it. Definitely. It's really, really good coffee. But moving on, ladies and gentlemen, Mike Johnson confirms he has no intention of attaching the SAVE Act to the budget resolution, the continuing resolution. This is the concession right here. This is Mike Johnson burying the knife deep in all of your backs. Right there. Yes. Now, I'm going to go to this article right here because it has the actual text of the letter in it. It's just easier to read. So I'm going to read this. Johnson's first continuing resolution, which included the safeguard voter eligibility. I can't even talk today, guys. The Safeguard American Voter Eligibility Act. That's a tongue twister. Okay. Or SAVE Act. I could have just said that. Aimed to fund the government through March of next year. However, the measure failed after 14 Republicans voted against it. It's really funny because when Johnson, this was the next act in the play that he set up. It was just to go after the Democrats for opposing voter integrity or election integrity. And he did that, even though it wasn't the Democrats. The Democrats, granted, had a completely different reason for opposing it, right? The Republicans that voted against the CR bill with the SAVE Act attached were not voting against it because they didn't want the SAVE Act to be signed into law. They do, very much so. but they understood something that I didn't understand at the time until like right before they actually voted on this bill, and something that I have since looked at because I was confused. Why are these representatives who I trust? These are the cream of the crop, the America First, top of the line representatives in Congress. And I'm like, why are they coming out against this? What's the deal here? I think it was like Thomas Massey, Marjorie Taylor Greene, some of these other ones that were voting against it. And it turns out one thing that some of these, I think it was Marjorie Taylor Greene and someone else that explained it, maybe Thomas Massey too. The SAVE Act already passed, like I kind of explained earlier. It passed already. It's sitting on Chuck Schumer's desk, but he refuses to bring it for a vote. Well, why can't Mike Johnson do that exact same thing with the CR bill until Chuck Schumer, at the very least, brings it up for a vote? We can't even get a vote on the SAVE Act in the Senate? Can't Mike Johnson, at the very least, use his leverage to bring it up for a simple vote? Please. Your Highness, may I at least have a crumb? You know, not even saying we're not going to pass the CR bill. We're not going to bring up the CR bill for a vote until you pass the SAVE Act. No, at least force a vote. They can't even do that. On Sunday, Johnson outlined a new path forward for government funding to prevent a shutdown on October the 1st. Yes, we all knew it was coming. Sad. This is what he wrote. Since we fell a bit short on the goal line, an alternative plan is now required. The feedback and ideas from everyone have been very helpful. And next week, the House will take the initiative and pass a clean 3-month CR to prevent the Senate from jamming us with a bill loaded with billions in new spending and unrelated provisions. Oh, okay. Give me a break. You know what? Mike Johnson, I would almost guarantee you Mike Johnson had this statement drafted up like probably 3-4 months ago. It was like, this was probably a scheduled tweet, right? Because this is the tweet right here that he released. Well, this is not the tweet that he released. He released this same picture. Okay, this is from Kyle Becker, but it was probably a scheduled tweet. You know, his staffer probably like 4 months ago went into X, uploaded this document or this PDF, whatever you call it, and scheduled it to come out today, or when it came out a couple days ago. That's how much of an act this is. He added, our legislation will be a very narrow, bare bones CR, including only the extensions that are absolutely necessary. As history has taught and current polling affirms, shutting the government down less than 40 days from a fateful election would be an act of political malpractice. I don't care. What he's saying is it'd be very bad for the Republicans politically. I don't care. This is what they always say. Every single time. How is it that the Democrats can get away with stuff like this? They can get away with pushing all of their BS agendas through. They don't even have a majority in the House, and they get all their crap through. But when we have the ability to use our leverage, something that the majority of Americans support, you don't. And then you say, well, it'd be very bad for the government to shut down. It would be the Democrats shutting the government down. It would be them. They always like to make it seem like their hands are tied. But their hands are not tied. They're trying to manufacture consent from you. When in reality, this is just what they wanted in the first place. They have to placate the people to get what they want. That's all it is. He goes on to say the new bill would keep the government funded until December the 20th, punting longer term spending decisions until the November 5th election. In addition to keeping the government funded at current levels, it would replenish funds for FEMA and add monies for the Secret Service. The Secret Service doesn't even need more money. They pretend they have this big sob story about how, we're spread so thin because we have upped Donald Trump's security, but then we have Biden security. Listen, no one cares about Joe Biden, okay? You could probably just leave him walking around with like no security. No one would care, okay, for one. But regardless, you know how much money the Secret Service gets? Billions upon billions of dollars. I forgot how much it actually is. At one point, I think I knew. But it's several $1 billion, a lot of money. And they protect, I want to say, like only like a couple hundred people. Is it a couple hundred? It might be less than that. It might be like 65 full-time people they protect. They don't need more money. They would like more money, and now they see this as an opportunity to get more money, but they don't need more money. The legislation will also include about $230 million in funds for the Secret Service, so an additional. After the second assassination attempt against Donald Trump, Schumer was critical of Johnson's announcement on Sunday, alleging the speaker had wasted precious time. Yeah. And what about Schumer? What about the SAVE Act that's sitting on your desk collecting dust? How about the time that you're wasting for that? You see how it's always framed? It's always framed as if the Republicans are the aggressor. And the Republicans just allow that narrative to go wild. It's just like, if that narrative is going to go against you, you might as well just do what you're going to do what you should do the right thing. But Mike Johnson is a sniveling little coward. Actually, I don't think Mike Johnson's a coward, honestly. I don't think he ever has any intention of going through with anything remotely like the SAVE Act. He's not a coward. He's just a extremely dishonest, corrupt politician. That's all he is. So these 16 Republicans voted against this SAVE Act and CR bill tied together. And like I said, some of these are the best congressmen and women that I really like a lot. I trust a lot, including Thomas Massey, Marjorie Taylor Greene. They voted present. They refused to support the CR bill with the SAVE Act attached. And this is what Massey said. He said, "We all know where this ends up. We've seen it. I've been here 12 years. I've seen it 12 times. I refuse to be a thespian in this failure theater." He says, "It's good theater. We've got great writers. I wish they'd just come up with a new plot. It's the same plot every fiscal year." So hopefully I explained in a way that you can kind of understand what the theater was. I hope you understood it. Sometimes I know I can ramble at times, but at the very least, I hope you understood kind of what's going on here. And I also hope you understand that it doesn't have to be this way. They actually have the power to fix this stuff. And they always like to make it seem like it's complicated, like their hands are tied. Oh, there's no way we could do it now. It's just too late. No. Now, all these excuses that they give, listen, what happens if, say, you show up to work and your boss says, "Hey," and you're late. Say you're like 2 hours late. Boss is like, "Hey, why are you late?" "Well, I had, there was traffic, and then I spilled my coffee, and blah, 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 blah." Boss might be like, "Okay." All right. And then, like, say the next day, same thing. "Well, what happened now?" "Well, you see, I was making breakfast, and my toast set on fire in the toaster, and then I tripped down the stairs." Your boss, okay, okay, maybe. And then he might be like, all right, maybe, don't let it happen again, though. The next day, you show up late, 4 hours late this time. "What happened this time?" And you rattle off a list of excuses. At some point, you know what? Your boss is gonna be like, "I don't care what your excuse is. I don't care if you had a family member that died. I just don't believe you anymore. I just don't believe you. I think you're full of BS." So I think that's what we need to start doing with Mike Johnson. Long story short. But moving on to something a little bit more exciting, a little bit more uplifting. We had a sold out crowd in Pennsylvania for Tucker's live event. Yes, Trump and Tucker both in Pennsylvania last night, I do believe. So, live event. Very good to see. Also, Alex Jones was present at this event. Right here. This is Alex Jones backstage.
Where we are right now with the people of Pennsylvania. Let me just say, testimony of Alex Jones. Since Alex Jones is one of those people you're supposed to be very shocked by. Here's the one fact about Alex Jones that I can't get over. Alex Jones predicted 9/11. And he did.
It's true.
Did so on tape. Now, I've worked in television my whole life. When you're on TV, there's a timestamp. We don't need to guess. I'm on TV. Trust me. Literally on the side of the...
Okay, I got a...
Persecuted.
Here you go. Fast forward when he comes on stage right here. Thunderous applause.
Persecuted for it. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, Alex Jones.
They love him. Let's go. The man, the myth, the legend. It's kind of funny. I posted part of this video on my Instagram. And if you guys want to follow me on Instagram, unwoke.thoughts on Instagram. Yes. Good account. It's a good account if I do say so myself. But I have a decent sized Instagram account, and I can see, you know, usually how the numbers work when I post a reel or something on Instagram. You know, initially it'll get a pretty decent amount initially. Well, when I posted a video of Alex Jones, in the description I said Alex Jones walks on stage at the Tucker event. Very oddly, Instagram or the video just barely crept up. There is like 30 likes and 30 views, just like very odd. So this man, of course, has been shadow banned into oblivion. He's been removed from social media, websites. He's basically only able to exist on Rumble and X at this point. He has his own websites. But, I mean, he needs no introduction, guys. Alex Jones, the GOAT. So very good to see him with Tucker Carlson. Also, during this event, Tucker Carlson, he slammed Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro. And this is what he said. Listen.
I actually don't really want to show up in somebody else's state and like attack their politicians, because it's not my state or Commonwealth. But I saw a photograph of your governor, Josh Shapiro, standing with a foreign leader signing an artillery shell that is going to kill civilians in a country we're not at war with a grin on his face. And I had a couple of thoughts. I was disgusted by it, actually. I was enraged by it.
I was disgusted by it as well, and I could do one better than a photo. I actually have a video of Josh Shapiro standing with Ukraine President Vladimir Zelensky. Yes, the best salesman in the world, as Donald Trump calls him. You know, he comes to the United States and he begs for $60 billion, and he walks away with $60 billion every single time, it seems like. Wow, incredible. But, you know, he was in Pennsylvania, stumping for Kamala and Walz, essentially. And Josh Shapiro very graciously decided to give him a tour of a artillery shell plant where a smiling Vladimir Zelensky looks on as a smiling Josh Shapiro signs and leaves a little message on one of these artillery shells. Now, if this creeps you out, you're a normal person. If it doesn't, you might be a little bit of a psycho. Watch. Yes. Wonder what he wrote on there. All Vladimir Zelensky sees here, he just sees money. It's just crazy, guys. Oh, Josh Shapiro. I can't believe that this is actually like a normal thing. Everyone's watching. As it's just what the heck? I don't know, guys. I just can't believe it. I just can't even. Isn't that what the kids say these days? I just can't even. Donald Trump was in Indiana, where he spoke to farmers, and he spoke on this this problem that we have right now of China buying up farmland. And a lot of this farmland is very odd, is encroaching on military bases. I know Dr. Phil is one of these individuals who is very concerned about this. He brought it up on Joe Rogan's podcast, and he had a map and everything that showed Chinese farmland surrounding our military bases, which is, I would say that's kind of concerning, you know. But Donald Trump, he says that we need to stop China from buying U.S. farmland.
Yes,
Listen.
ma'am.
President Trump, how will you protect critical infrastructure in the U.S. and in states like Pennsylvania from the Chinese Communist Party?
Well, we're going to protect it by saying you can't come. You can't do it. We don't want you buying our land. We don't want you taking the land and basically taking it off the market. And we don't want you doing it. And they're buying at levels that nobody's ever seen before. We don't want you buying. It's very easy to do. That's a very easy thing to do. But it's causing a lot of disruption, and that's what they want to do.
So good. I hope Donald Trump takes that seriously. I just do find it a little bit weird that we have a lot of Chinese farmland. I mean, just in general, I'm not for a foreign country owning a bunch of U.S. land. I'm not for that. But even more concerning is if a lot of this U.S. land is farmland surrounding military bases. That's kind of this is a little bit weird. But, you know, someone who actually opposes a ban on the CCP buying U.S. land, you would be correct. It's the Biden-Harris administration. Or at this point, can we just call it the Kamala administration? Biden-Harris administration has come out against a bill that would ban Chinese Communist Party officials from buying land in the United States if they are attempting to violate the autonomy of Hong Kong, increase aggressions toward Taiwan, or contribute to human rights violations towards groups in China, such as Uyghur Muslims. So I think it should be more straightforward than that. I think we should just straight up ban them. Like, how about, if you're part of the CCP, you don't get to own farmland. Or how about if the farmland is within a certain distance, at the very least, from a military base, you can't buy it. Very weird. Very weird. But moving on, Donald Trump was in... let me fix this here. There we go. Donald Trump was in Pennsylvania as well after his little round table with the farmers. He was in Pennsylvania. He went to a grocery store where he was seen doing some normal, everyday people stuff, like buying a massive bag of Utz popcorn. Yes, he saw the popcorn. He made a beeline for it, and he said, I want that. Watch.
Oh, look, I got to get some. Oh. Look at that stuff. I want this. Have it. We got to get it.
My mom just got a bag of that, actually.
Good. Is it good stuff? Good?
She says it's the best.
Is that the best?
She says it's the best.
If it is, I'll be in Washington, D.C., hopefully in the Oval Office. I'll send for popcorn. Okay.
So, yes. I've had Utz chips before. I don't think I've ever had that type of Utz popcorn. Looks delicious. I might have to buy it or find some. Maybe I'll have to go online. I don't know. I bet that just increased Utz sales of that popcorn. like crazy. Also, Donald Trump, he helped a mom of 3 pay for groceries at this. I'm assuming this is the same grocery store, but watch.
Here, it's going to go down a little bit. It just went down $100.
Thank you so much.
We'll do that for you from the White House, all right?
Thank you.
All right, bye. Nice seeing you.
So, pretty cool. Having the president, could you imagine just shopping for groceries? You know, you throw in a nice chuck roast into your cart, and you look over there, you see Donald Trump. Hey, what's up? What's going on? What's going on, 47? What's going on? Or what's his face call him? Mr. P, Mr. President, Mr. P. Last one, Donald Trump, he was kind of funny. Of course, he had a rally in Pennsylvania. And during that rally, he checked his hair in the screen.
What a nice looking man.
I think we've seen this before, but
what a wonderful looking person. I'm just checking out the hairstyle as I'm talking. I don't know. No, I'm talking, I'm looking up, I'm saying, I don't love it. Yeah, everyone don't love it. What the hell can you do? There's nothing I can do about it, right? We're stuck with it.
So Trump, yeah, he's really been seeming a lot looser lately, which is pretty impressive, actually, because he's had 2 attempts on his life. So pretty cool. Pretty cool, Donald Trump. Being relatable, talk about his hair, looking in the screen, being funny. Elon Musk, let's move on to Elon Musk, guys. He was in New York for this event, and he saw Javier Milei, and he greeted Javier Milei in a black MAGA hat. If you look, I know it's kind of hard to see. I should have brought up this picture. I have a picture that I posted on my Instagram. But that is, in fact, a black MAGA hat. You can't really see the letters. Maybe it's down here. Is it down here in the comments? Not really. It's not. But, yeah, he's wearing a black MAGA hat. But Elon Musk was in New York to present a Global Citizen Award to Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni. And here is them at the dinner.
Ghana beyond 8.
Italian Prime Minister.
Not just Ghanaians, but Africans across Ghana beyond 8.
Now, I don't know if you guys want to know this, but the reason, or the award that he was presenting, was this right here. Musk will introduce and present a Global Citizen Award to Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni on behalf of a think tank called the Atlantic Council. The ceremony comes as the United Nations wraps up the General Assembly meetings on Monday, during which heads of state and government have met in New York to address the critical challenges and gaps in global governments exposed by recent global shocks. Earlier this month, Bloomberg also reported that Musk and Meloni will have a closed-door discussion on potential investments in Italy for the AI and space industries. The discussion will follow recently passed legislation in Italy letting foreign space companies operate in the country. So, Musk cozying up to Giorgia Meloni. Moving on to the most brat politician of brat politicians. Kamala just wishes that she could be this brat. Are you kidding me? My Governor Gretchen Whitmer, is the brattiest of brattest politicians. And also the cringiest of politicians as well. She released this video in hopes of courting young voters to vote for Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. Watch this. Oh, hold on a second. I gotta rewind it here. I forgot to take it off mute. Okay, watch.
I'm here with volunteers and they're cooking with gas. This slaps hell up. My house party just slayed. I'm calling voters today, rizzing them up. Trump wants to ship union jobs overseas, not chill. This is gas. Trump wants to cut taxes for billionaires. I'm leaving the chat. No cap. I'm Swifty AF. It's giving the next president. I'm here.
Now, if you guys didn't understand what she was saying, it's okay. A lot of what she was using was attempting to speak in this ironic way, using slang term that younger people, like primarily like Gen Z, maybe some young millennials, but mostly Gen Z, language that they use, slang term. And it just doesn't work. It just doesn't. I don't even know what to say about it. So I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to move on to where Kamala Harris is out spending Donald Trump by $5 million each day. Are you freaking kidding me? Democrat presidential nominee Kamala Harris is out spending old Mr. P by nearly $5 million a day after a fresh surge of donations from Wall Street and Silicon Valley heavyweights. Kamala Harris splashed out $7.5 million daily in August compared to $2.6 million by Donald Trump. I mean, both of that is insane. But $7.5 million a day? Are you kidding me? Oh, that's wild. $7.5 million a day, and we can't even get the piddly SAVE Act pushed through Congress, pushed through the Senate. These politicians will move heaven and earth when it comes to something that they care about. $7.5 million a day. That's just mind-blowing to me. The vice president jumped in the race for the White House in July after donors voiced concerns about Biden's cognitive decline. Yeah, so we know all that, but that's just wild. All right, remember, guys, I told you Kamala Harris brought in over $500 million a couple months ago. So their $1 million to them is like, I don't know, $10 to you. It's like a cup of coffee. $1 million like a cup of coffee. Crazy. Absolutely bonkers. But moving on to the border, Governor Abbott talks about why the crossings at the border are down. He says they're actually down because Biden is now flying them in. See, he's got to make these numbers go down a little bit because the Democrat nominee, is running for president, obviously. And the border is a big issue. So how can they ensure the border crossings, like on the land, the border crossings are down, but still pump illegals into the country? Oh, I know. We can just fly them over the border. So they're still coming here, but the numbers aren't reflecting on the ground border crossings. This is what Greg Abbott says. Listen.
Yeah, and they're boasting about the fact that the number.
Oh, don't know what happened there. Hold on, guys. All right. There we go.
At the highs, what we and they're boasting about the fact that the numbers are down from the highs. I mean, at the highs, what we were talking about, 8,000 people a day coming through the border there in Texas. But those numbers are down. What we don't talk about is the fact that oftentimes they're down because this administration has decided to start flying them in, right? They're putting them on planes, flying them to swing states across the country.
Well, you are true, but let's be clear about something else. So they're claiming that the numbers are down because of Biden's executive order in June. the reality is, because of action that Texas took, they began going down last year.
Right.
Because Texas represents 2/3 of the border, because we reduced illegal immigration by about 85% in the state of Texas, of course, the border numbers are going to be down. But you mentioned something else that not enough Americans know, and that is another reason why the crossings at the border are down is because Biden is flying them across the border and then moving them to cities across the entire United States.
Extraordinary.
So it's kind of a double whammy. Like Abbott explains here, they're trying to take credit for what he is doing. Remember the whole fight with the razor wire on the border where they had a standoff with Homeland Security agents at the border in Texas? And they basically forced the wire. I forgot exactly because it's been a long time, but Greg Abbott ensured that there would be razor wire on the border, and Homeland Security agents were removing it. And so he finally had enough, and there was a standoff between Homeland Security agents and I think it was the Texas National Guard. And they drafted up legislation and they fought to the point where they were finally able to at least slow the flood of illegal immigrants coming over the border. And after this big fight, after all these risks Greg Abbott took, and it is showing the fruits of his labor to some degree, Biden is claiming that it's their administration. It's because of him. And also, he's padding those numbers by flying illegal immigrants over the border instead of them coming over just directly. Moving on, guys. Ryan Ralph released a manifesto. It actually wasn't a manifesto initially. I put in this Instagram post that it was. I didn't know that it was actually just a letter. But this is what it said. So I had it translated. I just uploaded this image to ChatGPT because it was written in this kind of hard to read cursive, if you see. You can kind of read it if you zoom in. But I uploaded it to ChatGPT and it translated it perfectly. But this is what the letter said. Dear world, this was an assassination attempt on Donald Trump, but I am so sorry I failed you. I tried my best. I gave it all the gumption I could muster. It is up to you now to finish the job. And I will offer $150,000 to whomever can complete the job. Everyone across the globe, from the youngest to the oldest, knows that Trump is unfit to be anything, much less a U.S. president. U.S. presidents must at bare minimum embody the moral fabric that is America and be kind, caring, and selfless and always stand for humanity. Trump fails to understand any of, and then the image cut off the rest of the text. So that's what we see. That's what the DOJ released. The DOJ released that part of the letter. Now, there's more parts of the letter. Why would they release that part? Putting a bounty on Donald Trump's head. It doesn't make any sense. They're always not releasing certain documents because of the safety of this person or that person, but they release a document that puts a bounty on Trump's head. It's a little bit weird. Kind of odd. But where did this letter come from? Now, I called it a manifesto. I thought they just found it in his car or something like that. But apparently, no, they did not find it in his car. This is not something they just found. It came from a friend of Ryan Ralph's who said that Ryan Ralph gave it to him a while ago. Listen.
We just got new information about that second apparent assassination attempt against Donald Trump last week in Florida. New court documents detail how 58-year-old Ryan Ruth allegedly tracked the former president's movements in the weeks before he was caught on Trump's golf course. Now, we're also learning of new evidence that appears to show Ruth confessed to an assassination plot in a letter. He's expected back in court in just the next hour for a bond hearing. NBC's Tom Winters here with more on all of this. So walk us through what we know about this apparent confession, Tom.
Right. So I don't think anybody thought that Ryan Ruth showed up at the Trump golf course with a semi-automatic rifle that Sunday, a little over a week ago, because he was going quail hunting. So I think a lot of folks thought this is somebody who's clearly going after Trump. And the FBI said that in calling it an apparent assassination attempt. But we hadn't yet seen any sort of indication of exact and specific motive. We knew some of his prior political thoughts thanks to social media and the things he said. Now today, federal prosecutors say that approximately a month before this shooting, he allegedly left behind a box of documents at a friend's house. And once this incident came out, once he was shot at by Secret Service and taken into custody, he writes in this letter that he has a number of different items in it, phones, building materials, not clear what that's all about, a metal pipe, ammunition. But then he writes that he's sorry that he in essence, let people down for a failed assassination attempt on Donald Trump. Now, that's before he does this. So how did he know he was going to fail? And there's all sorts of questions that come from
Who the heck is his friend?
The bottom line is,
that's what I want to know.
If we're to believe federal prosecutors and the evidence they say they found in the documents that they've now shown us, that this was definitely some sort of an indication of a possible assassination plot, to your point. And so that's one of the things that they're presenting to the judge. And this is the reason why this is coming out. They want to keep him behind bars pending this trial because they want to continue this investigation. Obviously, they found a lot. They've also found there were apparently 4 cell phones found in his vehicle at the time of his arrest. We're looking at the body-worn camera of that. They tracked down through the mobile service provider T-Mobile in this particular instance where he was prior. And it includes on several different occasions, apparently he was at Mar-a-Lago or other Trump properties in the Palm Beach area. So this was not the first time he thought to go there. And even it may have had some lists of prior known locations where former President Trump would be. You're looking.
So, yeah, they're trying to make it seem like, they're mentioning that. So it's like, oh, this was just happenstance. Oh, he just happened upon to get close to Trump. Maybe he did. I don't know. I just think this whole story is just a little bit fantastical. Okay, guys. It's like, why this guy had a house. Why is he leaving a box of documents at a friend's house? What? Presumably, if you're caught, the authorities are going to search your house, and they will. If you wanted this letter to get out, all you had to do was leave it at your house. You don't think the feds are going to be combing through your house? But a friend's house? Who is this friend? Why is Ryan Routh leaving a box of documents at a friend's house? This whole thing just sounds fantastical. It just sounds weird. I don't know, guys. It just sounds off. I don't have any other explanation for what's going on. It doesn't sound right to me. It stinks. And then the DOJ releases that part of the letter. Why are they doing that? Isn't that a little bit dangerous? Someone could possibly believe that Ryan Routh somehow is going to give them $150,000. Or maybe there's some crazy out there who thinks that, oh no, it's not going to be Ryan Routh. It's going to be maybe the intelligence agencies. They'll take care of me because that's what Ryan Routh really is. Someone crazy might think that. Crazy, right? But yeah, why would they release that part of the letter? It just doesn't really make sense to me. Kind of keeping on with this whole assassination theme here for a sec. Ever since the shootings, Americans have now, their trust in the Secret Service has dipped below than Americans' trust in the IRS. Wow, that's pretty bad. Secret Service is now trusted less than the IRS to do its job, according to a Gallup poll released Monday. According to the poll conducted from September the 3rd through the 15th, only 32% of respondents said the U.S. Secret Service was doing an excellent job, and 36 saying they were doing a poor job, with the IRS saying it received a 34 excellent or good rating. Who the heck is giving IRS an excellent or good rating? The only rating you should give the IRS is that it shouldn't exist. So you got 32 for the U.S. Secret Service here, and then 34 for the IRS. So very interesting. That's just too bad for the Secret Service, rather. The IRS, good for you. Americans hate you less than the Secret Service. That's pretty bad. Moving on real quick, guys. Got a couple more things to talk about. We got Jay Varma. You guys remember the architect of the COVID response in New York City, who got caught on a hidden camera saying that he was having sex parties, drug-fueled sex parties, while everyone was locked down. He was having them in secret, of course, which begs the question, why is the architect for the NYC's COVID response, who's locking everyone down under penalty of, punishment by law, why is he not afraid of this virus when he is ensuring that everyone else has to be locked down? Why is he out there doing all this weird stuff? It's obvious he wasn't scared. He didn't think it was real. He just wanted to. He just wanted to be in power. He just wanted to feel like he had power over people. And now it's come out, obviously, in this hidden video, hidden camera, this interview that it was not an interview, it was like a fake date. He probably thought he was on a date. You never see the woman's actual face, but he says in the video that he thought he was on a date when Steven Crowder confronts him. But now, Councilwoman Inna Vernikov came out at New York City Hall and condemned Jay Varma. Listen.
Thank you to Steven Crowder for uncovering and exposing what we all already knew. Thank you. There were almost 9 million New Yorkers in the city. Most of them were forced to vaccinate. And the majority of them, a lot of them, had medical consequences from having to vaccinate. A lot of them lost their jobs because they had to vaccinate, because they didn't want to vaccinate. We couldn't bury our grandparents. People couldn't attend burials of their own parents. All while one sicko, yes, I said it, one sicko was partying at the same time he was mandating this on all New Yorkers. This is disgusting, below the belt. It must be investigated. And Mayor Adams has a real opportunity here to undo what was done by the former administration under Mayor de Blasio. Reinstate and compensate all those who lost their jobs. Yeah.
So on the steps of City Hall, and that's not all, guys, Dr. Jay Varma has officially been terminated from Siga Technologies. That's his employer, effective immediately, from his position as Executive Vice President and Chief Medical Officer. So this is fantastic. I mean, it's sad that it has to come to the point where you have to go as far as to set up this fake date and film somebody in secret, privately, to get the truth out there. But Steven Crowder doing great work here, because like that councilwoman said, I mean, there's many people whose lives were affected very negatively from the COVID response in New York City, and just specifically in New York City. I'm not talking about the rest of the country, but this is just one example. Imagine what was going on the rest of the country. Stuff probably exactly like this. And it's just absolutely disgusting. But it's good to see he was at least fired. But last one we're going to talk about, guys. I thought this was kind of cool. AI robotics company 1X has announced its latest creation, Neo, A humanoid robot designed for home use that could begin shipping as soon as 2025. Check this out.
Yeah.
Kind of weird. Can you imagine? Hold on, there's more. There's more. Here we go. The Neo Beta can assist with everyday tasks around the house, such as emptying the dishwasher or organizing items. You know, there was a show I watched one time that had these. Let's go to the chat here. There was a show, I forgot what it was called, but it had these humanoids just like this, kind of. It was a good show, actually. I don't know why, I like dystopian shows like that. Here's another one. We make coffee. It has human-like dexterity and precise manipulation. I kind of want one. I've given up. Technology is just taking over our lives completely. I'm sorry. I concede. Google, you can spy on me. I'm going to get a Google. I'm going to get an Amazon Alexa. You know, there's nothing I can do. They just know all my information. I give up. I give up completely. But how are you guys doing? What's going on, guys? How is everyone doing up here? Hold on a second. I got to bring this. Got to situate the chat here. Wait a second. All right, there we go. There we go. Okay. I think I got it figured out. Okay. Awesome. Let's see. How's it going, guys? How is it going? We got some of my great members in the chat. We got Southern Sass in the chat. Resto Guy says, morning. Just stopping in to say hi. I'm working, so have a great day. Hey, man. Have a great day. Thanks for stopping in. I appreciate you. We got Jeremy Brummer in the chat. How's it going, Jeremy? What's up? How's it going? Scoop said, I missed the show. Bad Chad, Robert, LV, Benny, all of them. I was fishing and stuff. Oh, well, I didn't have a show yesterday, so you didn't miss anything yesterday. We have Michelle C in the chat. How's it going, Michelle? Thank you for modding. The best mod in the entire world. We got Christy in the chat. She says, hi, Christy. I hope you're not talking to yourself. I hope you're not talking. I hope you're talking to the other Christy, or, you know, we might have to report you for going insane. We got Queen Bee's Art Hive doing some modding in the chat. How's it going, Queen Bee? All right. Mama Bear says, hiya, Andrew. No more Mondays off, please. All right. Okay. No, really, I have a couple other projects I'm working on because ever since, I mean, to be perfectly honest, ever since YouTube banned Firebrand Media, I've been looking for ways to fill in that hole of income, because that was like a decent source of income for me. So I've been looking at different ways. And I've been kind of taking on some more projects. So every now and then, you know, I might miss a live stream here and there. I'll try not to. But I have taken on a couple projects where it is taking some of my time. Like I said, ever since Firebrand Media was banned on YouTube, I've had to do some things to kind of pick up the slack where Firebrand Media in the past filled that in. So that's why. But it's perfectly okay. It's not like I don't have the time. Just every now and then I'm just like, oh, I don't know. I don't know if I want to organize all the links and all these things. But that's just me being lazy. You're right. I need to hold myself accountable. I need to just put my nose to the grindstone, as my dad used to say. We got Pete in the chat. He says Bill Gates holds the patent on the vaccine, not the virus. Yeah, Bill Gates, he's involved in a lot of crazy stuff. Jeremy Byers says I could handle a robot if I could afford it. Maybe. I don't think I would mind a robot. It's just in the back of my mind, I feel like I would always have this fear that it's going to turn on me. With AI especially, right? Because AI, you don't really know what's going to happen with AI. What kind of regulations do we have with AI? Who has like a back door into AI? AI is kind of freaky when you think of it. The stuff it can do. Just like a chat bot, like Chat GPT. It's pretty insane what that chat bot can do. Like I said, I took that letter written by Ryan Routh. I uploaded the picture of it into Chat GPT because I didn't want to go through the whole thing and squint and zoom in and try to translate it so it was easier to read. And Chat GPT did it in just a couple seconds. It's incredible. AI, it's wild. Teresa says, what if somebody hacks your robot and then what? Yeah, just like those pagers that got hacked by Israel. You guys see that? Those pagers that all blew up. Turns out it actually wasn't, because I was reading about this. It actually wasn't Taiwan who manufactured them. Taiwan, at first it was reported that these pagers came from Taiwan. And I was wondering, well, if they came from Taiwan, were they hacked by Israel or were they intercepted by Israel and they had explosives installed into them or put into the packaging of the pager? But it turns out Taiwan simply just white labeled the pagers, and they were actually sourced from some other, I forgot what the other company was. It was somewhere different entirely, but they were actually made in Israel to begin with or something. I don't know. It was very complicated reading that. I was like, dang, that's crazy. But yeah, Israel just absolutely going nuts over there. It's pretty wild. Marie says, Speaker Johnson is pretending to be the speaker. The real speaker's Hakeem Jeffries. I mean, that's facts. It's sad. It's sad, we don't have fighters. We have people in office that are way too concerned about what they call things that are bad for politics. Basically, they are whooped by the mainstream media. That is what they are so afraid of. They are constantly afraid of the press. They are subservient to the media, like MSNBC, CNN, Fox News. They are subservient, not to us. They are subservient to the media. When they say this is bad politics, that what they mean is, oh, the mainstream media is going to be mean to me. That's what they really mean. Anthony said I had a stock pager a long time ago. That went well. Lost my shirt on stocks. All right. We all lose our shirts every now and then. But all right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to hop off here. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you learned something. If you could, please, before we get off the show or off the stream, leave a like on the video. And if you'd like to support the show, I have my links down below. Become a member, or also, if you'd like to just do a one-time donation, help out the show, it's that link's down there as well. Go check it out. And if you haven't yet, make sure you subscribe. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for hanging out. We'll see you tomorrow morning on the next one. God bless.